Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Forex Weekly Forecast. My name is Alexander again. Thank you again for being here. If it's the first time you're watching this video, what we're gonna do is to cover a couple of things in the markets that I think would be valuable next week. Try to teach you a little bit of something related to trading, be it technical analysis or psychology. Today we're gonna look a little bit on discipline. Talking about how to acquire discipline and how to stay disciplined. So we're gonna talk a little bit of that. Of course, if you like that video, hit that like button and subscribe to my next editions. Okay, and to start our conversation, we need to answer the question what discipline is. Generally speaking, discipline is your ability to repeat the same actions again and again. Be it waking up early at 6 o'clock or doing some physical activities like swimming, running, cycling or whatever every day, or it may be executing the same strategy every single trade. Okay, as you might have noticed, sometimes it's very easy to repeat the same actions, and sometimes it is very hard to repeat the same actions. So if we paraphrase that, we will have, if you might have noticed, sometimes it's very easy to stay disciplined and sometimes it's very hard to stay disciplined. So why is it so? What is that thing? What is the key? Why is it sometimes easy and sometimes hard? And the key is motivation. If you are motivated, it is very easy for you to stay disciplined, to repeat the same actions. And if you are not motivated, it is very hard for you to stay disciplined to repeat the same actions. You'll find thousands of excuses for not doing that what you decided to do before. Okay, so this is motivation. What is that motivation? Motivation is something that you have inside of your mind. It is a mindset that makes you want to do something. There are two kinds of motivations. I just divided into two kinds. Maybe some psychology scientists will have many other kinds of motivation, or maybe they would agree with me or not agree with me. I just do that division into two parts. The motivation connected with the immediate outcome and the motivation that is connected with a longer term outcome. So if you might have guessed, you may now understand which kind of motivation is a characteristic of a newbie trader and of a professional trader. Which motivation belongs to newbie traders and which motivation belongs to professional traders. Of course, motivation that is connected with an immediate outcome is that a motivation of a newbie trader, and the motivation that is connected with a longer term outcome is the motivation of a professional trader. Okay, so motivation is your mindset that makes you desire to do something, to repeat your action, that makes you want to do something. Okay, let me first explain you the motivation that is connected with the immediate outcome. Imagine that you hit that button, for example sell button, and that trade turned into a winner. So the motivation connected to that outcome of your winner will initiate the process in your mind. And this process will say, okay, I have done this set of actions and I have this outcome. So let me repeat, the outcome is good, let me repeat the same actions to have the same outcome. So you easily repeat the same actions, and for example, next time you again have a winner, and the same process is again initiated in your mind. You say, okay, I have done the same actions and I have this kind of result. The result is good, let me repeat the same actions. And this will last again and again and again until the series of winners stops, until you have a loser. And what happens when you have a loser? When you have a loser, the same process initiates in your mind. You say, okay, I have done this kind of actions and I have this kind of result, and the result is bad. So let me not do that because the result is bad. Well, what is that reason why we give up so early? The only loser we have, we give up. We do not try to repeat the same actions again. Why is that? Because the answer is because of our social upbringing. If you remember your childhood, you will see how you've been educated. If you do something right, you are rewarded. If you do something wrong, you are punished. So nobody wants to be punished. Everybody wants to be rewarded. So this was your behavior was manipulated by adults, and you were always rewarded when you do something, and you are always punished when you do not do something or you do something wrong. So either you are always rewarded if you do the same kind of actions, or you always punished when you do some wrong actions. So, and this thinking installs into your mind, and I call this a pain avoidance mechanism. So when you have a loser, this pain avoidance mechanism comes into play, and this pain avoidance mechanism tells you that you need to switch your actions to something else. You need to to modify your behavior, not to have the same result. This is called pain avoidance mechanism. It is the same. The pain avoidance mechanism is the habit we acquired from our life. For example, you just when you were a child, you put your hand into a boiling water and you have a burn, and immediately you understand that it is extremely painful, and next time you will not do the same action again. So it is a kind of natural pain avoidance mechanism is a natural mechanism that is was installed in our I don't know, mind, brain, or was installed in our psychology, evolutionary. So it is the only way everybody can teach or learn something. It is the only way everybody can learn something, that pain avoidance mechanism. On one hand it helps, and on the other hand it very well hurts. And if related to trading, it hurts more than helps. So pain avoidance mechanism is a voice in your head that tells you you need to modify your actions, you need to change your strategy, you need to do something else because you had a loser. This is what the pain avoidance mechanism. Maybe this voice will be very quiet. Maybe it is like a whisper. But when you have the second loser in a row, the voice become louder. And when you have the third loser, this voice turns into a scream. This voice is screaming in your head, okay, you need to avoid this pain, stop bleeding, stop doing your actions, do something else. Okay, so if somebody tells you that you will not feel that pain of losers, they are lying to you. You will have that pain every time, because losers are not pleasant. You will not be pleased with those losers. But how you deal with that pain, either it influences your actions or not, is a little bit different questions. Okay, so this is the motivation of a newbie trader that is connected with an immediate outcome. If you are rewarded, it is very easily for you to stay disciplined to continue the same action. But if you're punished, it is very hard for you because of that pain avoidance mechanism to repeat the same actions, and you have a desire to change your actions or stop doing those actions that led you to losers. And when we see the motivation of a professional trader, it is a little bit different. When you have a winner, the motivation for a professional trader to repeat the same actions is not because you had the winner. The motivation is that overall goal. For example, the goal is to acquire professional skills. The goal is to master the skills you already have, and the goal is, I don't know, to acquire a fear-free state of mind. So this is the goal, this is the motivation for you, like that professional trader. Or maybe your goal is to generate $1 million, and you only think about $1 million, and you are not thinking about the current outcomes, about current problems. I like that Jason Greystone's saying. You can find that guy in TradingView also. It is London live room trading powered guy. You can find him on YouTube also. He's recording wonderful videos. Okay, did some acknowledgements. I like his saying. He says, our mind dislikes vacuum. He needs something to be filled with. So if your mind is filled with your goal, you are thinking of your goal. But if it is not filled with your overall goal, you start thinking of your problems. Okay, if you keep your goal in mind, the problems are very, very small as compared to this very, very large goal. Current problems, current losers, winners have absolutely no impact on you. They are very, very small. But if it is vice versa, if you do not have your goal in your mind, and because of that your mind clings to your current problems, and you keep your problems in mind, and your problems seem to be very, very large, and your goals very, very compared to these problems are very, very small. So you think you need to deal with those problems, and then after you resolve your problems, maybe you will do something to reach your goal. So your goal is not as important as your problems. Okay, so this is the thing of the difference of professional traders and newbies traders. Newbies traders are thinking of current losers and winners. Professional traders are thinking of the overall outcome, of the overall picture, of the overall goal, and they are not influenced by those streaks of losers or streaks of winners. Okay, what else should be said here in this section devoted to discipline? How can you motivate yourself to stay disciplined? And we have some tips here. Let me enumerate something. For example, just imagine you have some thought in your mind, yes, and you need to do some actions that are well, how to say that? Well, you have a thought in your mind to do something, and you need to do that. So you need to have a motivation to fulfill your thoughts, to do what you have done. So is it hard for you, or is it easy for you to do repeatedly what you're thinking of? And imagine the next situation. You have wrote down your rules, and now you have an official document, and this document says do this and that. So when it is easy to do actions, when you have only thoughts in your mind, on your rules kept in your mind to do this and that, or when you have it written down on paper, it says to do this and that. Of course, it is easier when it is written on the paper, because it is because of perception. You treat that like an official document that says this and that. It is like a law. Obey the law. And when it is only a thought, you can change your thought to a different thought easily, and you can forget about your previous thought. So that would be an excuse for you for not doing whatever you decided to do. But when you have it written, you cannot change it easily, because it is written. Everybody can see that. You can see that, and it will be a reminder for you, so you not forget to do what you are going to do. So the first thing you need to do, you need to write down your rules. It would be very good if you write down with the pen or pencil, with your hand, not typing in your Microsoft Word, but with your pen and pencil. So your hand should remember the movements of your promises, of your rules to be executed. Okay, what is the next tip to keep yourself motivated? It is keeping your goal in your mind, as I said previously. So if you keep your goal in your mind, your problems, your current losers, your current winners are not very large. They seem to be very small to have any impact on you. So keeping your goal in your mind. What is the next thing? The next thing to keep yourself motivated, that helps you to stay disciplined, is a kind of knowledge of what are you expecting. So if you have some rules, you need to have a historical perspective. You need to go backtest these rules, and then after you have backtested them, you know that if you follow these rules over time, your trading plan will produce profits. So it also helps you to stay disciplined, to execute the same rules again and again. But if you didn't do the backtesting, you will most likely have some problems staying disciplined with your trading plan. So what else may help you? Well, maybe these are the main three things that help you. Keeping your goal in mind, write down all your goals, all your rules on paper, so you just cannot switch them, like you switch from one thought to another thought. When you switch between thoughts, you cannot switch that. And okay, you can do a kind of mantras, of course, something like I promise to stay disciplined, to repeat the same action, and if I do not do that, God will punish me, or something like that, and it will keep you motivated also. Maybe it is complete lies, maybe you don't believe in that, but it helps, it really helps. Some mantras, some rituals is what professional traders do. Some of them do these promises, some of them read some mantras, some of them meditate, some of them visualize their goals. There are different ways, but the principle is the same. You may go and tell your wife, okay, today I will repeat these actions. And when you tell something to anybody, you feel responsible to do whatever you have said. Because that person that heard your words is expecting you to act in that manner. Either you will not be supposed to be a reliable person. That person say, okay, he promises something, he says about something, but he never does this or that, whatever he's saying. Okay, so these are the tips on how you can be motivated. Why do you need motivation? You need motivation to stay disciplined. Why you need to stay disciplined? You need to stay disciplined to repeat the same actions again and again. I don't say that when you do something different, when you change your action, it will automatically lead to a loss. It doesn't mean that. Sometimes it leads to a winner. And I know a trader that was constantly changing his strategy, his actions, depending on the kind of outcome he had. If he had a series of winners, he was repeating the same actions again and again and again, and he said, okay, whatever I'm touching is turns into gold. But when he had the loser, he said, well, I need some additional confirmation. My strategy previously have been a little bit more aggressive. Let me apply some indicator. Let me apply some moving average that will help me to filter some of my trades. And he applied some moving averages, and next time when he had a loser, he applied some MACD indicator, some RSI, something like that, trying constantly to improve his results. And he's been trading for about a year, a little bit growing. His account was growing. But that was pure luck. His actions only were dependent on the external factors, and external factors is the outcome of this action. If he has something, if he has a winner, he stays disciplined. If he doesn't have a winner, he changes his strategy, changes his approach. And if he has a loss, he changes it again. If he has a loss, he changes it again. And if he has a winner, he stays disciplined again, and he's trading that new approach until he had a next loss. So he was quite successful for a year. He generated a little bit of money, not very much, but then he blew off his account. On a larger perspective, it is inevitable to blow your account off if you are not staying disciplined and if you are not executing the strategy that was proven to have a long-term positive expectancy. Okay guys, let's go then to analyze our charts as we talked about discipline. And my discipline says that first of all, what I need to do, I need to find swings. Using my swing identification technique, I find these swings like that. Large swing, a little bit smaller swing, and smaller swing, and finally this swing are becoming smaller and smaller, so downside movements are smaller and smaller. So I am thinking about the upside continuation. We had that power to the downside, retracement, then we had power that is compared, if it is compared to previous, it was a little bit less power, and the third impulse has the least. And also I pay attention to corrections. Let me find my correction tool. If we look at that, what are the pullbacks to the upside? It is 1103. This one is 938, becoming to this. Okay. After that we had this. Okay, no, yes. And then we had this. And some correction in between them. So what I'm paying attention to this, in this particular situation, I paid attention to large impulse, small impulse. Small impulse, the downside trend is losing power because of that. Let me take my horizontal line and to show you something else. We had a kind of shelf here, we've broken that, so it was acting like a good resistance once, then we bounced to the downside, we came again, didn't violate that, but we couldn't bounce larger than the previous, we couldn't violate the previous. So we had a high low, the same high on the same level, and then a high low. So I expect this high low to be higher than previous. Usually if we have this kind of situation, let me draw that, some kind of that, it is called a ascending triangle. So when you have it this way, boom, then you have a bounce, then you have a back, then you have smaller, then you have back, then you have it smaller, then you have back, and then maybe you have it smaller, and then you finally break out. So this horizontal line is usually broken to the upside when you have it smaller, 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 and smaller. So bear, we have many bears here, then we have less bears, less bears, less bears, and finally bulls take control and we move to the upside. So it is exactly the same, and it doesn't really matter what previous actions we had. Either we had a downside trend or we had an upside trend. It can be a reversal pattern or a trend continuation pattern. In this case, it is a kind of reversal pattern. Okay, what are my expectations? I do not expect that very good reversal to the upside. What I'm expecting? I am expecting a small pullback back into previous resistance line of that, back to this horizontal line. So this is what I expect next week. Let me delete these lines. Okay, and the last one. What I expect here, let me zoom it in. I expect a press to the upside, like that. Boom. Maybe a bit, or maybe something like that to the upside. So this is the idea for the next week. That pound yen most likely will move to the upside and will show that this is the high low. We failed to install the low low, so sitting at that structure to buy. Okay, so how can we get involved? And this is when you decide on how can you get involved. This is what you should have in your trading plan. This is what you should test, what you should verify, and what you should know could be repeatable. Okay, when we have that bias to the upside, decided, okay, we see that resistance, it is acting like a magnet, price is boom boom boom, touched it 1 2 3 4 5 times, and it is making lows, then higher lows, and I expect that a next higher low, and then a higher low and a higher low. So let me try to buy it. How can I get involved? And depending on your rules, you can get involved in this trade. My rules say I can get involved in this situation very easily. First of all, I should measure the leg of the movement of that. If you look at this last retest impulse, it is not a regular impulse because we do not have a close above the previous high. It is only a retest. We only have a wick to the upside. Okay, if we measure that move, you see it is a little bit curvy. We have some kind of correction in between that impulse. We had a little bit of here, we have a little bit here also, but the movement is single because this one does not violate this high. It takes place within this previous impulse range. So okay, if you want to know more about impulses and corrections and the way I identify them, so you just go and watch my video, swing identification technique, trend identification technique. You can find it on my YouTube page. Okay, so what I need to do here, I need to enable 382 retracement. 382 retracement, like that. Okay, and the first requirement, after I have found that initial point and that final point, the first requirement I need this pullback to 382. And as you see, we had that pullback. It is touched 382, closed below. It doesn't really important. So this is the first requirement. After, now let me delete other lines so they do not. Okay, I will leave this one. So 382. After this requirement is filled, the next thing that I'm looking at is the extension of the second movement, the second part of the movement, and it should at least touch 127 extension. I measure the same leg, boom, initial, final, and back again. And then what I need to do, I need to enable 127 extension. Boom. Done. And as you see, price touched that 127.2 extension. And you also have the number here. Let me do that price level stops left, maybe right. Okay, so these numbers take place to the right. Okay, after we have these two requirements, the first should be 382, the second should be 127. The only thing left is to find the entry point from the initial to the final point of the whole movement. And it should be 786 to that. So it is here. 786 is your entry level. So this pattern is called a cipher pattern. Let me take this drawing tool, triangle drawings tool, boom boom boom, X to A to B to C and D, and as you see, it already completed, because cipher pattern completes at 786, and you should have already bought this cipher pattern. You should have bought that. If you didn't have in your trading plan, that it means nothing for you. You should not touch that. You should ignore that opportunity. You should only look at this at the kind of education, and maybe you will test the cipher patterns and you find them valuable, you find them producing profits over time, and after you have done that, only then you should trade them, but not now. If you didn't know about that cipher pattern, if you didn't notice that, you shouldn't touch it. Okay, so this is the cipher pattern, a very good reason for you to buy. So my trading plan says that I should buy it at 786, but the daily time frame is not my trading time frame. If it is yours, then the cipher pattern is a wonderful opportunity to get long here. Okay, so what could be the potential targets? Traditionally, the targets are from C to D, 382 and 786, but my targets, in my approach, my targets are calculated a little bit different way. They are from the highest close to the entry point, 382 and 618. Usually I use 382, I do not use 618. Previously I've been using that a lot, like closing half of that position and break even the second half, and then closing the remaining half at 618. But now I only use that 382 target. Okay, so if we get involved at market, as soon as the market opens, so what do we have? Oh, sorry, wrong. We need a long position. What do we have if we get involved at market? The logic of the pattern says that it should not violate X. X point is this magnet mode. X point is here. It should not violate X. Okay, so this is 4-to-1 risk to reward because price came a little bit deeper. So if you open position at market, it will be very nice for you. If your broker does not allow you to open position on weekends, okay, shame on you, you didn't enter that pattern earlier because you didn't have it on your trading plan. Okay, but you can also enter that when markets open, but maybe we'll have a gap and you will not have that good execution price. If we have a gap to the upside, you will have a worse entry, or maybe we can have a gap through the X point and that will be invalidated. So you are to decide. Okay, guys, you should keep in mind cipher pattern. I remind you once again, because I have many questions on that part. Cipher pattern is not a harmonic pattern. It is not a harmonic pattern. Although it has those X, A, B, C, and D points, these 5 X, A, B, C, D points, it has those triangles. It is drawn usually with those triangles. It is not a harmonic pattern. It is an advanced formation. Advanced formation that was invented by Darren Oglesby, a trading powered guy, so all the credits are given to him. It has absolutely no reference to Scott Carney, who is the inventor of harmonic approach. It has absolutely nothing to deal with that Scott Carney. So when you address some questions to me, to my trading, you should keep in mind that I'm not trading harmonics. My approach is absolutely different. I use cipher pattern as an advanced formation from trading powered, like the same way it is intended to be used, and I use my own pattern that I called Unified Gartley pattern. This is the pattern that I was tested, and I found it myself. It is working. It has a special set of ratios, and although it is also looks like those harmonic patterns because of X, A, B, C, and D points, and because it is drawn like those two triangles connected to each other, it is absolutely different. It is not harmonic at all. It is ACS based swing identification technique pattern. Okay, if you would like to know more about my approach, contact me in private messages, and we will decide how can I help you. Maybe you will take my trading course, maybe you will just need a piece of advice. Stay tuned, hit that like button if you like the video, hit that subscribe button, share this video with everybody, share this idea to everybody in the forums, let everybody know about my strategy. I will highly appreciate your support, and I will be highly motivated to record next videos and to share my ideas with you. Okay, hope to see you next week then. Goodbye.